Greetings RC fans. I wasn't expecting this to be a full video on its own, but by the nature of it, it appears that's what it's going to be. Welcome back to Sharky's Garage. This is episode 2 of Project Optimus Blue. Today we're going to deal with the building of the DravTech shocks. I'm over with Sean Baker, the chairman of the BERCC and the main guy behind the E.A.S.T. East Anglian Scale Trail event. He's going to show me how to build these. There's a few tips and tricks. We'll include all of that in there. Hopefully you'll find it interesting. I think it's probably going to be 25 to 30 minutes long. Obviously you can skip through some of the bits. We've got most of it done. We're just about to film the last little segments and stuff like that. I hope you're having a really good day. Don't forget to do the usual things, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you all again at the end of the video when I do the outro. So I'm here with Sean Baker.
Hello.
He's a bit of a big deal.
No, I'm not.
We laugh and joke about that.
It's a joke.
So Sean's going to help me by building the DravTechs, and we've got everything all laid out here. We're going to go through it all, and hopefully this will help people who are building DravTechs themselves. Now, what were you saying about the springs, Sean, and how you choose to build them?
Okay, so in my rigs, whether I'm running this length, which is 96, I think it is.
Yeah.
Or the 80 somethings, the really super short ones.
Yeah.
Which I use in my class 1. When I build them, I use 2 different spring rates.
Yeah.
So, these ones, I'll just take one out of the bag, and you can literally see the difference. And they also have paint on them. I don't know if you can see. There's a little brownish mark sort of here.
Yeah.
Browny red mark, and you can see they're they're black, and you can see how thick they are.
Yeah.
So they are the medium springs.
Yeah.
And I run them in the rear just because I find that giving the rear a little bit more stability helps when you are going up or climbing. You know, especially if you're climbing up something steep, you're trying to get over, over a ridge or up a rock or whatever. It just helps a tad, having the rear stiffer than the front. So you can see the difference in these shock springs.
Yeah, you can see the
straight away. I mean, they look completely. They almost look like the wrong springs, but
it looks like you've got pen springs.
Yeah, it does. It looks ridiculous, doesn't it?
Ballpoint pen.
So you've got mediums.
Yeah.
And these are soft.
Okay.
And the difference is just they literally just tiniest amount, and so the softs go in the front, which just keeps the front down and in full droop. It still gives you the compression, and it still gives you the pushing down that you need.
Okay.
And the rear is just that bit stiffer.
Cool. Excellent. So the plan for the rest of this is we're going to stop the video here. We're going to then sort out and lay everything out. Then Sean's going to build one. Then we're going to build one live on cam for you so that you can see how it's done. Right, so just before I put this segment in, you will have seen a photo of how to lay this mat out. Now, this is quite specific, and there's a reason we're going to talk about all of that. It's taken from the guy who actually designed these. He did a long video, it was a live stream, and he showed how to do it because people are saying, oh, well, they leak, etc., etc. So he basically did a live stream and showed how to build these to not leak, and he's also how you lay it out so that you then make sure you've got all of that. So what we got here, Sean?
So what we've got is shock bodies. This is the Chasis rebuild kit.
Right.
It's rod ends, ball ends, screws, shafts, the piston.
Yeah.
The little C clips, and these are the soft.
Yeah, so
these are the ones for the front, basically.
It's the Chasis.
So it's this Chasis
Ultra Shocks assembly.
Yeah, something like that.
So it's got the 2362.
Yeah, and it's got instructions, but we don't need them because we don't use those. So basically, what we're going to do is we've laid these out in a particular order. So I've got the piston there, so I've got the bladder there, just because it's there. So what you'll do is you take the shock body, and then you work from the top down. So you put this thin, small, almost clear plastic spacer in, then a blue rubber one, then this thick white spacer, then another blue one, and then there is a wider,
you can see from that top down, you
plastic one, and then you put the C-clip in. So you put them all into there, C-clip on top, and I use C-clip pliers. I don't know if you can see the little pins on the ends. See the little pins? They go in the holes, makes it a lot easier, believe me, because otherwise your C-clips will fly around all over the place.
This tool to hold the shock?
This tool is to put the ball ends in the rod ends. And also it holds the shock shaft in there, stops it from moving, doesn't scratch it, holds it nice and tight. Perfect, brilliant little tool. You can get, this is a Techno one, I've had it for years. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. You can get them cheap, that was expensive, but yeah, they honestly, get yourselves a pair of these. They're amazing. Shock pliers, best thing ever.
Cool. So what we're going to do is Sean is going to build one. We're building the light sprung set, which is for the fronts first. So Sean's going to build one off camera, then we're going to come back.
I'll build it now, it's fine.
Yeah,
we'll do it now. Yeah, it's cool.
Okay.
So we take one of these. You probably can't see it because I've got big fat fingers, and I can't ever pick things up. But so white one. Let's drop it in. Blue one. Drop it in. Thick white one. You can see it's much thicker. It's obvious which one it is. Goes in. Then another blue one. Goes in. And then the wider white one that goes in on the top.
Okay.
So I'm going to attempt to build this part now, and this is where it's going to go horribly wrong, Carl.
That's right. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this now, and we're going to put that in, and then we'll show you when it's done.
So it's a bit giggle here because these things are a pain in the proverbial. So basically, you're picking them up with these circlip pliers, and you've got to get the pins in the holes there. It's difficult to see, but there's tiny holes. You try not to get them all the way through if you can help it, because otherwise you're pushing down so hard. But basically, once you've got the circlip on the end of the pliers, you squeeze, angle it in because it goes under a little lip, and then hold it down with your thumb, and then you're squeezing, pushing down, and then you have to open them out a bit to get them off, and then you want to make sure they're in, and then it's like a little, I went around the edges like that. So I'll show you on the next one. Definitely push that in. Then the blue one. And then the wide, thin, whitish one, which just seals them all off at the top. They go in,
and that looks almost flush.
It's almost flush, but if you look very carefully, you can see there's a tiny blue line up here. So now what we do is we grab.
And this time I bet
we attempt to grab one of these little things, not pushing it all the way in, so the shock pliers, the C-clip pliers aren't all the way through the holes, they're just gripping it. Sorry, Cole.
That's right.
Squeeze.
Let me work around.
There you go. So luckily that flew off but landed on my lap. So
not always that lucky.
Not always that lucky. So get that in there.
You just concentrate that and let me concentrate on filming, because otherwise we're going to lose this
circlip.
We're going to lose this
circlip across the room somewhere. That's it. They're quite sharp, these things. It's difficult to get it on exactly right. Okay, so it's gone in a long way. I don't really want it in that far, but whatever. Okay. Right. So now I'm squeezing. I'm going to put my thumb over the top. I'll get it under that lip. Push it in with my thumb. I'm squeezing it so it's closed. Push it all the way in. Oh, that's handy. Still on there. That was a bit of luck, wasn't it?
It was.
So, I mean, the first one went on like a dream, didn't it, Carl? To be honest, it went on like a dream. This one is...
We were laughing about how easy it went on.
How easy it went on, and actually, they're a real pain. So that's not in. So, I've got to get those on there again. I mean, some people, they're going to do this and it's just going to be like a piece of cake. So it's just sticking out of that side there. I'm just going to use my thumbnail. Come on. No, it doesn't want to go in. Oh man. See, this is the joy of building shocks.
And this is why I'm not doing this myself.
Yeah. So excuse my big hand in the way.
That's right.
God, man. If you do this a lot, I'm sure you'll be absolutely wetting yourselves about how difficult I'm finding this. Other shocks, you don't have to do this.
That's by the base of the orange thing on the next to the end of the
See,
ruler.
Literally flew across the room. You can do this inside a clear plastic bag, by the way, so you can see what you're doing, and it does help at times.
Right.
But yeah, here we go. This is this one. I'm doing it on this one, Carl. This is it, mate.
Okay.
They're going in now. I'm telling you now. They're going in. Okay, they're not going in.
Right, we'll come back to you when...
I'm doing this off camera. This is not... It's because you're filming. It's because you're filming.
Yeah, we'll come back when we got that done.
Get in. Done it. Oh, man. Honestly, it's fiddly, but it's worth it. The other thing I did as well was, on the first one, I left the shock cap on, which just doesn't help. So I took it off, which means you can sit it flat.
Flat base.
And what I actually did was I held it like that, put the circlip in, and then I held it with my finger rather than my thumb, and then I was able to sort of just end up moving it in there with my thumbnail. But they're in, so that's
cool.
I'll take that one apart as well because that needs to come off anyway. So we now have 2.
Okay, what's the next phase?
Oh, the next phase is good question, Carl. I think next phase is going to be something else that's fiddly.
Yep.
So next phase
we'll do that. We'll do one off camera and then we'll show you how.
We'll just put it together quickly. So basically, you take small circlip.
Yep.
Shock shaft. One end you've got the screw thread.
End.
Other end you've got the 2 ridges cut out.
Yep.
So on the bottom one, you put a small circlip, and you can push it on with your thumb.
Excellent.
Okay.
Onto the bottom of the 2 rings.
On the bottom of 2 rings. Then you take your piston.
Yep.
Doesn't matter which way up it goes. They're beautifully smooth and really well made, to be honest. Like so.
And then you've got to put.
And then you take your
other C-clip.
Your other C-clip, which I'm going to pick up with my screwdriver because it's magnetic. And you take that one, and you put that over the top there. And this is the bit that's a little bit more difficult. Again, these can fly. So
hopefully not. Fingers crossed.
Fingernail. I'm just going to get it on the ridge and attempt to push it on. It's not going to work. So I've got these pliers again. Just going to see. It's fiddly, and see the thing is, Carl and I have got big hands. If you haven't got such massive big fat fingers like Carl and I, you'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
So and you need like an extra finger or 2, which maybe that's a thing for life. Could do with an extra finger or 2. So I'm using some really thin.
That can be taken too many ways.
Oh man, come on!
It's because you're trying to do it for camera. That's what
it is. I know it is. But it makes it fun, and to be honest, it makes it real, doesn't it, Carl?
Yeah.
It's all well and good going, oh look, I've done these, and then people go, oh, that looks really easy, and it's not, and it can be really quite frustrating at times. So circlip in place on the top. Oh, come on, in you go.
And I heard the snap there.
You heard the snap. That was my fingernail. It's the easiest way, and that's nice and smooth. It just spins.
Cool. Excellent.
Right. So yeah, you could probably do it better than that, but that's one of them done.
Right.
Woo. Right. So the next thing, I'm not going to do the next one. We'll just crack on. So this is basically going to go inside. Okay. So you're just putting it in. When you build these, you can. So when you buy these, you can order them with a 5mm spacer that you put on the shock shaft, and the idea behind that, it does reduce the length of the shocks ever so slightly, but it also means that when you fill them with the shock oil, the piston is always sitting in oil. That's part of it. It's above the bottom. Yes, it's in oil, and it can help. But I think in one of my sets I've got the spacer, and the other set I haven't. So it depends on what you want. If you want the full length, then you go with these.
Yeah.
Right, so now, next thing to go on is the spring.
Yep.
Like so. Then the bottom shock cap.
Yep.
Like so. Fits inside the spring nicely.
Yep.
This is where your shock pliers come in really handy. So put them on, grip hold of the shock shaft. Try not to let it slide up and down. Then you take your rod end and you just screw your rod end in. Like so. And don't push it too far, don't screw it too far. You're just screwing it up to the end of the screw thread. Okay?
Yep.
So I'm going to keep going until that rod end is at the end. Can you see? Where's the camera? There's the camera there.
Yep.
A little bit further, a little bit further.
Yep.
There you go. Like this.
Excellent.
Okay, no further, because what will happen is it starts to bring it out, and it will actually the shaft will start to push through here.
Yeah.
And then it'll stop the speed. It impinges on the ball end.
Yeah.
So that's that done. So that's on.
Yep.
Let go of that. Oh, there we go. So that's now doing its. That's how slow the springs are. Okay.
Yeah.
So then the next job is to take ball end or ball link. I put it in my shock pliers like so. Which will do this on the table so you can actually see it. So that goes there.
Mm-hmm.
You put your rod end over the top, and then you push.
Oh, that's so easy compared to.
It's just done. That's it. It's nice and simple. That's it.
Cool.
So that's your basic shock done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice and slow. So you'll see the difference if you look, you can see how slow. It's not even gonna. I don't think it'll push it all the way out. To be honest, it might do.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's that one. So that's one. So I'll do the other one in a second.
Yeah.
So next job is to do the top. So we've got the bladder to go in. Yeah. So the oil bladder, and then the shock cap.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll pause. We'll stop the video here. We'll make up the other one. So we've got the pair of them, and then we'll come back to do that top phase. So off camera, we have just put the second one together. Now. The lubing.
Yes, lubing. Lubing is always good. It helps everybody. So what I've done is I would normally use green slime, which is basically just like a
assembly lube.
Yeah, it's like a thick assembly lube. It's waterproof and stuff. And you would put it in as you're putting the
seals in.
The seals in. Just put a little bit in, and before you put the last one in, and it just helps the shock shaft move up and down inside, just lubricates it a little tad.
Yeah.
But what I've done, because I can't find any, what I've used is some 20 weight shock oil.
Okay,
and literally a tiny drop in there.
Now you'll see the difference.
And the difference now is that is moving. The spring is,
doing a spring job.
It's doing a spring job. I probably didn't put as much in this one, or I cleaned it off a bit more. But basically it's doing the same job. So that is now going in and out a lot nicer than it was before, because it just gets stuck on the rubber.
Yeah.
Inside, the shock shaft gets caught in the rubber a bit.
So we've put the
so ball ends are in here already.
Yeah.
You can put them in whenever you like. Sometimes I'll just do all the ball ends into the rod ends and done. It gets it out of the way. So the next stage is actually fun time, Harry. We're going to put shock oil. Woohoo!
Okay.
Right, you ready? So, what I'm going to do...
So you don't build the end caps first?
Well, no, I can do. I mean, I will. I'll tell you what, let's do that first, actually. Yeah, let's do that first.
Before
Yeah. So you take your end cap. Yeah?
Yeah.
Goes on that way.
Yeah.
You turn it upside down. And then underneath here, I'm going to pick up 2mm MIP hex drive. Screw through from the inside.
Yeah.
And then if you look carefully, you can see this is a circle.
Yeah.
The rod ends are not.
Yeah.
They are a hexagon shape. 1, 2, 3,
yeah.
4, 5. Hexagons are 5,
no,
is it?
8. Six.
Six. 1, 2,
so
3.
It's
Yeah, six.
Yeah.
It's a thingamajigging. It's one of them things, guns. Yeah. So from inside, so it's not designed to fit, obviously, but it does, because you start the screw process, you do it up with your screwdriver, and then you get so far and you go, oh, do you know what, that's going to really hurt my fingers. So what you do is you take it screwdriver out, and then as chap does on the video, which we can put a link in, Carl. It's probably worth putting a link in just to his video as well. The
guy who designed
who designed and built them. Yeah. So you take your electric screwdriver. I find it easier. I'm then also going to use my shock pliers, and I'm going to hold that so it cannot move. Yeah. And then basically, can you see that?
Yep.
So now, don't matter. I am now doing it up, and it's pulling it in. Now it won't go any further because I put it on the lowest one.
Torque setting. Yeah.
Torque setting. Take it off. And if you look carefully, how can we show you this on something white so you can see it? Let's use the back of that. Can you see here how
it's deformed?
It's deformed and it's split.
It's shaved the plastic
is
down.
Shaved off over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is in there. That is not going to move.
Perfect.
Okay, that is why these shocks don't leak. All right, they literally don't leak because they're done up super tight.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm just going to put that ball in back in as well. And once that's in, that's the end of it done. Like that.
Excellent.
Bosh.
Right, we'll come back to you with the next bit.
Right, so now we're at the stage where we've got 2 built, and I've laid out the other 2 that are going to be the medium springs for the rear, so you can see they're moving nicely. So now we've got to put oil in, bladder, and the shock cap.
Yep. Now we're going for a full droop setup on here.
We're going for a full droop. So we're using the soft springs on purpose. 35 weight oil. You can go lower if you want, but I don't seem to have any 30.
Yeah,
and 20 is going to be too
light. Yeah.
Because you want some kind of resistance in the piston with it all going through. So basically, what you're doing now is you're just going up to about 3/4 of the way. I'll show you on camera in a second once it's enough oil in there. Another squeeze. Right, so that is about 1 centimetre from the top. It's difficult to tell.
Yeah, we can just see that.
You can just see it shining there.
Yeah.
So you will. There's going to be air in there from when you put the oil in. It's got to move. It's got to come up to the surface. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to move the shock up and down. Hear that? Too far. So moving the shock up and down a bit, just to get the air going. I'm just going to put a bit more in there because it's gone down even further now. So not all the way to the top yet. So it's still about at the most 1 centimetre, half centimetre.
Yep.
From the top. I'm just going to move it up and down a little bit, and then we're going to set it to the side and let the air come out of the shock. Okay, so the pistons pull to the bottom, and we'll wait for that to settle. So same thing again. Take your shock, your oil. 35 is enough. You can go lower, but basically you want some kind of resistance, like I said. So I'm going to put that into these bottles are so stiff.
Well, it's not the warmest of days.
No, so just work it a little bit. You don't want to put it all the way to the top because it's going to start spilling out everywhere, but you can. I actually can see bubbles in there now. You're not going to get that on camera. I think it's going to be very difficult to see, but
yeah.
Can you see those bubbles?
Yeah, there was a bubble. I definitely saw a bubble there.
So you're doing that, and then we just put them to one side.
If you don't have one of these fancy stands, you can just have a pot that you stand them in.
Pot, anything, just so they're as upright as they can be.
Yeah. So we're going to leave those to stand for a while, and then we'll build the other shocks, and then we'll come back and we'll show you what we're doing with the bladders and finishing it off, and some tips and tricks with that.
We've got to wait for it to settle.
Okay. All right. Back. So the end is in sight. I've just recorded an intro because up until now this was going to be multiple different things on this video, but we're going to do it all about building the dravs. We've let these settle for a while. We just made a coffee. We've just been talking to Gareth from GCRC on the phone about some other stuff. You've got a long
Yeah.
thing there.
I've got a long screw. Is that a bolt nut? Whatever it's called. But basically it's a round head one and it's long.
Yeah.
The only reason it's long is because it's easy to hold.
Okay.
Okay, you can have a little short one if that's what you've got, doesn't matter, but it's easy to do.
Right, so what's that all about?
So this is about, so we've got oil in the shock. It's about 0.5 centimetre from the top. So we are going to top it up to the top. As near as damn it to the top. That's virtually at the top.
Yep.
Then you take your bladder and you have it that way up. Okay, that's how you're putting it in there.
Yep.
So you put your bladder on the top, like so. Just sit it there. See?
Yep.
Give it a little push just so it's level.
Yep.
Then you take said long bolt with its round head.
Important to have a round head, not a flat head.
Round head. And I'm going to try and get my arm around like that so you can see. And I'm just going to push it in. So it's now pushed the bladder down firm on there. Then you push the shock shaft up about 1 centimetre or so, and it's lifting the bladder. You now push the bladder back down, and oh look, there's some oil come out.
But this is expected.
This is what you want. This is what you want it to do. So it's pushed down, and then you let the spring come back out. You pull it down, and it sucks the bladder on. The bladder's now on. Take your paper. Just give the shock a clean, because there's no point having loads of oil all over it, and they're lovely and sparkly blue.
Yep.
Okay, so the reason you do that is, if you can see now, it is actually very difficult to see. Naked eye can see it, but the bladder is now slightly smaller than the screw thread.
Yep.
So it's pulled it in and down. Yep. So in theory, what should happen now is when I put the cap on, the cap should just fit straight over and do up. So you don't catch the bladder on the screw thread when you're putting the cap on, and you just do it up tight. That's your shock built.
Wow.
End of. So I'm now just going to give it another clean, like so, and another little turn to be tight. And now that shock is working beautifully.
Stunning.
So what you do is you make a noise, you go, oh.
Right, okay. So we're gonna do the others.
So I'm just gonna go over it again. I'll go over it again. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go over it again, but I will do one of the medium spring, so you can see the difference in the shock pulling out.
Yep.
Okay, so again, same thing again. It's got about 0.5 centimetre gap. Just going to fill that up to virtually to the top.
Why do we rest the shocks after the initial fill?
Right, so because you've got the shock body, it's got air in it. You put the shock fluid in, it's going to trap air at the bottom of the shock body. You move it up and down so you're moving the piston up and down, so the oil's going through the holes. You want to displace that air. The air will rise in small bubbles, comes out. You don't want any air in there, because if you have air in there, the shock will, as it compresses, the air will go through and it will jerk. Mm-hmm. So and also you get a gap. So you don't want any air in there at all. You want this shock body just to be completely full of oil.
Yep.
You don't want any air in there at all.
Okay.
So you have to let it to settle, so the bubbles can come up, burst and come out.
Okay.
You haven't got to leave it. I mean, we've left it for probably 10 minutes. You don't have to leave it for that long.
Yeah.
A few minutes. Just have a little look in there, and you'll see it's clear. You can see all the way through, and you can see the piston and everything. It's dead. It's a little break from building it as well. Yeah. But it takes two minutes, and it's done. So bladder on.
Yep. Push down.
Just a little tap. Your long nut bolt thing. Just give it a push. Sorry, it's difficult to.
I know.
We're around the wrong side, aren't we?
That's all right.
Give that a push. I'm being quite firm. You know, there's a little bit of oil coming. So you're pushing it in the middle,
and
then compress the shock a centimetre or so. You can see the bladders lifting.
Yeah.
Push down. Oh, loads of oil this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then let go, and you pull the shock shaft back down, and that sucks the bladder in. Which then it makes the bladder smaller because it's being pulled into the shock body.
Which means it's not going to impinge on the threads when you screw it up,
and it creates a small vacuum, so to speak, inside.
Yep.
So all nice and clean.
Yep.
Yep. And then hopefully, same as the last one, that should just fit straight over, and you're doing it up. See, that bit is like, oh man, that's so much easier, because so many times you get the bladder caught on the shock cap. It's pain. So are you ready for the noise?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so compress. It's harder to compress.
Yeah.
Oh. Obviously medium spring. Nice.
Excellent. All right, we'll come back to you when we've got them all done and record the outro section. So we've got all the shocks built, all 4 of them are built, and what we've got here is we've got one of each. So this is the medium
on this side,
and we've got the light on this side. And to show you the different rebound rates, we're going to try and show you this way.
So it's going to hold them down.
Yeah.
Compress them. Oop. Press them both.
Yeah.
And let go. So
excellent.
As you can see, the soft springs are taking a lot longer.
Yeah.
But that's the idea.
Yeah.
They can't push back as much.
Okay. Right, so that's it for today. Thank you very much, Sean, for all your help and all of that.
Absolute
I hope
pleasure,
everybody has found this really interesting. Don't forget to leave us something interesting down in the comments section. Sean's going to send me a link to the guy that originally invented these and his long video. Hopefully this has not been as long as that. Hopefully you found this really useful. Catch you all again soon. Bye.